Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. I just got a ping from Jory, and I have a ticket to Open SSF event, the thing. So yay, cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Let's touch base after this
Yes.
about other things.
Yes, perfect.
Cool. Awesome. Morning, everybody. Welcome. Just give another minute for the folks to get joined up. I'll
be right back.
Yeah.
Hi, good morning, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi, Mayor.
Hey.
Cool. Let's get started. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the May 25th meeting of the Identifying Security Threats Working Group. Thank you to to the folks that joined 2 weeks ago and ran the meeting. That's great. The one kind of major takeaway was that we need to have a conversation on, should we change the name of this working group to be more reflective of like what we do? So we can certainly chat about that today. I've got a quick update on Alpha Omega. I can actually just do that here. If you guys have any other things that you'd like to talk about, please add them to the agenda and we can get to it. Before we start, how's everybody doing?
Good, just trying to keep our spirits up, you know.
Seriously.
I'm excited but overwhelmed. The big gathering in DC was great, but I was totally overwhelmed with all that, and I am still trying to catch up with everything else. So if I'm behind on some emails to you, my apologies or whatever. So there's some work that I really want to do for various working groups that I just haven't gotten to yet.
So I guess by way of summit follow-up, because the previous incantation of this working group was on the 11th. I hope everybody's seen it, but if you guys haven't seen it, just open ssf.org. It's at the top right, and it is the mobilization plan. And my interpretation of how the event went was that there was generally broad consensus that the mobilization plan was a reasonable direction. Numerically, most of the things were non-controversial. So I think what we're waiting on at a high level is kind of the how should we go and bite off pieces and go do it. The best information I have right now is that this is intended to be kind of a bottoms up thing where working groups see that, oh, this thing aligns with me. I'm going to start off and kind of just go do it. But now there will be funding available to make it happen. That's not set in stone, but that's kind of my my assumption. So I think if there were things that we want to do, we should not be afraid to go start moving, which kind of gets to the other one I want to do, which was office hours.
But before you go on, just real quick, I agree with you. I think, I mean, there was specific discussion, especially really both days, where people were asked to have comments back, and in fact, we set aside time to specifically, as groups, talk about each of the 10 streams. The plans divide into 3 goals and further divide into 10 streams. Each goal supported by multiple streams. I don't think anybody said, "Oh my gosh, that stream was a terrible, terrible thing." It was more a matter of, hey, make sure you include. So, for example, education, we talked about college and boot camps. There was a discussion about, hey, also include K through 12. Separately, although I don't remember if it was within that group, I know I've separately gotten emails about, hey, what about reproducible builds? And well, that's actually, the salsa specifically mentioned in stream 10, and salsa includes reproducible builds, at least the current spec does. So, I mean, it doesn't say everything, but I think the things that people have raised that maybe it doesn't mention are still consistent with it.
Absolutely, yeah. So just because it's not in the mobilization plan doesn't mean we can't do it, and just because it's in the mobilization plan doesn't mean we have to do it. But from a Venn diagram perspective, I think it should, if it more or less matches what we do over the next 2 years, 3 years, if it's mostly in that, I think that would be a good outcome, a terrific outcome. Cool. So any questions on that topic from the group? Wonderful. So one of the topics that came up a couple times, both prior to DC, but also at DC, was the idea of having kind of an office hours. And this was in the context of stream 6, but also we touched a little bit about it when we talked about spinning up an open SSFP cert for kind of coordinated response for, let's just say, high impact open source events. And the way that I'm thinking about this is super experimental and not about pcert, but more about if you're an open source developer and you have questions, you need help, you would like some hands-on guidance, more than what you could get with Stack Overflow, I think. Then right now, you as an open source developer, unless you're part of a larger foundation, you don't really have any place to go. I mean, you can go to the docs and figure it out yourself. So what the proposal is, and there's a link here, so is for a couple months to try running weekly or biweekly office hours where it's available. Anybody can join. Any security questions, we're there. We will do our best to help there. It's time boxed to the hour. So it's not staff augmentation forever. It is not we will join every project to become their security champ. But it's intended to address the problem of there's nobody to turn to for help. We may find out after 2 months that this is actually not a problem. Like nobody cares, nobody wants it, it doesn't provide value, or the only value that it would provide is in having a longer term relationship with the project, which I don't think this proposal is looking to solve. So what I would love is kind of feedback on it. We don't have to do it real time, but throw comments in the doc. Do you think it's worth it? The feedback I've gotten so far has been, I like the paraphrasing. I like the idea. In the past, people that have requested help have always wanted more help than we could provide in that time. And this came up a couple times that folks thought that project maintainers may not feel comfortable talking about their security problems in a forum where other kind of random maintainers would be or could be present. And perhaps a more asynchronous kind of a ticketing system might be better. I don't know. David, I see your hand up though.
Yeah, I mean, this seems like a low risk kind of, let's try it, declare that we're going to do it 4 times as an experiment and go. I mean, having 4 1-hour meetings and seeing if it works, I mean, go for it. You'll be shocked to know that I think your name needs work. Those are just, I mean, is this a security office that has hours? Is this office hours for security?
Oh, so we need to do, I need to, wait, just parentheses. This is the solution to all ambiguity, solve parentheses.
Oh, I hate it even more. Okay, so basically, I will make the standard observation that naming is hard, but but we don't need to solve that this instant. I think we do need to have a clear name as clear as we can and as short as we can. And I know that can be conflicting. But my whine about the name notwithstanding, hey. This seems like one of those could be helpful, might not be, but the only way to know is try. The cost is low. Let's go for it.
Cool.
And if it turns out that nobody shows, well, let's try. I think one of the feedbacks would be, okay, why didn't you? I would be unsurprised if a lot of folks would be unwilling to talk about specifics publicly, but that's okay. That will be a we confirm that.
Mhm.
Another issue though might be just not even sure what questions to ask. But again, I would say go for it. And this is not the kind of thing where if we spent multiple hours debating whether we should do it, it would cost more than just doing it.
Yeah, I agree. Amir, sorry, Altaz.
Oh yeah, just a quick comment here, Michael. Just making sure that people understand what value they can get out of this. It could go down into a code review, for example. Like it could go down to that level. And if there aren't people in the office to go in there and support them, then suddenly it's like, well, I don't know what value I'm getting out of this. And the other thing as well is I think it would be amazing if there are lessons learned or patterns that emerge. This could be a value beyond this program to help the broader security community. Just so thanks.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, I agree. There would need to be at least enough. I mean, I was thinking like if 5 people are on the call, there's probably enough overlap to cover most. Like we have somebody there who's like, I'm a kernel developer and I'm having some problems with the thing like that. Like we may not have the expertise to help there. But I would hope 95% of the cases, having 5 people might help, but we'll see. Cool. So I think the most important thing, oh, sorry, Jonathan. You have your hand up.
I do have to grab the unmute button. I'm happy to attend. I would be interested in attending and helping out where I can. How is it going to get advertised so that actually people learn about it existing and know that they should they have a thing to join that they can ask for help for at?
I think initially Twitter is probably the best. I mean, Twitter and a blog would because we don't want to we also don't want to get 38 people showing up the first week for help or 700.
I mean, that demonstrates it's clearly a problem.
It does. Yeah, that's true. But although maybe it might be 700 people just coming just to see what happens. Either way, though, yeah, I think just keep it organic initially and simple. What I would love to have, though, is an owner to kind of drive this and make this happen. Is there anyone on this call that this is calling to, and you feel like this would be something? It should be relatively time. I mean, if we start it, if the first session is like mid-June, I would say, so it would be like June and July. Maybe by early August, kind of wrap it up and see what we learned and see if we want to continue it. But relatively time boxed, relatively well defined. Anybody want to own it? Everybody's on mute. Everybody's searching for their mute button to try to turn off.
I don't want to own it, but I do want to participate. That's where I'm at. That's like.
How about this? Okay, so owner needed and participants.
I will definitely participate, and if you can't find another owner, I can own two. The time may be a little awkward for me because I go on vacation. There's open SSF day and week. So if I'm the owner, I'm probably gonna have to start it after that week because of conflicts. But that doesn't but doesn't have to be me. And certainly I can show. And I also had my hand up earlier because I want to note that we probably want to get some folks from the Open SS Best Practices Working Group.
Yep.
Oh, and there you go. Yeah.
There you go. They may actually, somebody from there may also want to own this.
Yeah.
So how about this? Since y'all are here, you guys get first dibs. If you want to own this, put your name down. If I don't see a name down, I'll ask Krob for to drive this through his working group. Terrific. Any questions, last comments on this one?
Well, this is a start of support for one of the streams, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. 5 and 6, I think both mentioned this.
Yeah. I'm going to mention that in our notes.
Yeah.
Because we should give ourselves credit for that.
Wonderful. Okay, next thing, Open SSF Day is happening on June 20th. Registration's available. This is a day, I don't know if it's day 0 or day -1 of supply chain security con or security supply chain, whatever it is, the one in Austin. The sign up is ssf.org. I think it's, David, you probably know this. Is it virtual? Is it hybrid?
It is hybrid.
It is hybrid. So you can be there in person and you can be not.
That is my understanding as well. I guess I should double check, but my understanding is that it is hybrid. I will be there in person. Yeah. So and I'm kind of hoping you will too.
I will. Yeah. I think the speakers have to be there in person. I think it's hybrid for attendees, but
that's right. That is my understanding as well. And I'm registered and I'm showing up for that whole week. So the Open Source Summit. So
me too.
Wonderful.
Yeah, there's actually a whole, if you haven't signed up already, there's a whole bunch of things going on that week. You got OpenSSF that first day. You got Supply Chain Security Con. I'm on that program committee. We've also got Linux Security Summit. I'm also on that program committee. And there's all sorts of other stuff going on. So there is much that people here probably would find of great interest.
I'm gonna make your you're willing to own for the thing just very light gray as a favor to you, because you don't need anything else to own, Dave.
What have you dumped in my lap, Mr. Scavetta?
No, I made it
Oh.
great. I didn't want to cross it out, but like,
Oh.
you don't need to own anything more.
Oh, well, thank you. I do. That is very kind. I like to say yes.
I know.
Yes. So, so yeah. So, I'll hold off and wait for other people, but I actually think it's a cool idea. I don't know if it'll work either. But this seems like the sort of thing. The only way you know is you try.
Yeah. And honestly, getting it like out of my head of like, oh, I should really do this. Like,
Yeah.
it is a big benefit. So
Awesome.
terrific. Okay, security updates. Luigi cannot make today, so I don't think we have anything for security insights. I do think though we do want to, well, we can talk about it in 2 weeks, but I do think we want to have a more targeted campaign to get having a group like Apache or Eclipse or another kind of foundation with lots of projects kind of on board would be enormously helpful. Having all of the OpenSSF projects is like mandatory, so we should figure out how to go after that and make that happen. Maybe it's as simple as pull requests to the different projects, but we'll that next week. Security reviews. Amir, anything on your end from this?
I did want to just briefly mention, I see you wrote it there already. The pull request was merged, so all of that, the automated reviews for Omega have been updated into the repo. I also did want to give a shout out to Luigi. I thought he did a fine job running the meeting last time. But so just so that's on record. But yeah, not a ton of updates on that. We are going to be putting a couple of reviews from our end too, from OSTIF's reviews that we're wrapping up here. We got a couple good ones that we're going to be putting out there as soon as they're ready. We're thinking in the next couple weeks.
Awesome. So for Omega specifically, since I don't think most of the folks on the call are aware of what we did here. So for Alpha Omega, one of the ways that we wanted to get started was because we don't have a body in seat to do the analysis yet. We thought that if we ran the tool chain against a bunch of open source projects and the results came back completely clean, like the scan ran and the scan found nothing, that as a positive indicator of goodness, we could templatize and create a security review. So as an example, this is what it looks like. So this is against the NPM, was it ANSI yellow package? So to be clear, like no eyeballs were on this package. So this was all automated. So what we ran is we ran code QL with the default rule set, detect secrets, which is an open source like secret detector, Node.js scan, which adds a little bit more, semgrep with basically the kitchen sink of rules. So this can be a little bit noisy, but again, if it comes back with nothing, then that's a signal. We checked to see if it was rebuildable, and I don't know if rebuildable or reproducible or buildable, like what the right word is there, but effectively we took the NPM package and we saw it, and we determined whether or not we could look at the package, find its source code, get its source code, and then rebuild the package from the source. So there's a tool that we released to kind of do this. And if it passes, then it passes, and it passed. And then we looked up public vulnerabilities in, I don't know if this is deps.dev or OSV. I think this is deps.dev that we did for this. So with all those signals, we felt okay. We published this. So there's 93 of these here. The rate of, I think that's about 15% of packages that we scanned came back clean. So that itself is an interesting number. These were all NPM packages. Most of these are very tiny, so maybe it's skewed. Long term, I think the place where this goes is into some sort of an assertion, and I don't know if that is a skit assertion in toto, something else. Like I don't know, and like I'm trying, like I kind of don't care what the implementation is, but at some point I want to be able to say that NPM binary extensions version, I guess 2.2.0 was clean because evidence, and have that be something that can kind of be consumed programmatically. Because this is a review, it is also metadata, so you can pull out and see that binary extensions 2.2.0 came back, issues identified none. So you can rely on that if you want. Right now, the publication state is draft, so it doesn't show up in the overview yet. I wanted to give it a couple weeks to kind of sit there before we commit to like having it out there. Any questions on that? Fun.
We talked about it a little, and I think it's actually the next topic, but talking about the metric dashboard and how this data, this metadata could feed into whatever the metric dashboard comes out to. But I think that would be a good way to be able to access the information.
Definitely. And to be fair, I think it should today even, because the metric dash, well, sorry, it doesn't today because it's broken, but it would today if it weren't broken. And by that I mean that it does clone all of the, it clones the repo and parses all the stuff, and then adds the review metadata into the dashboard thing. But in the future, yes, it should absolutely also do that, and it will. And between Christine and Jay and Vinod, I know they're kind of all over that. So.
Awesome.
I guess I do have a broader question. I mean, this is definitely one of those databases, and I mean using database in the broad general sense of collection of data, where the more data, more information we have, the more people are going to use it, the more people want to contribute to it. Have we tried other ways to try to get some of the existing reviews into this form? I mean, I know that there, Amir, you're the person who knows many of these other organizations have already done reviews. Whether or not Ostif oversaw them, have any of them considered contributing to this? I mean, it seems to me that they would have incentive to add things on this list, just like and I imagine other folks would too. It's just, how can we add to this so that it starts having that snowball effect of everybody uses it because everybody uses it.
Yeah, that's a good question. A couple things that come to mind are potentially reaching out to the OTF folks, because while their reviews are very kind of narrow in scope, they do a decent amount of them, and
right,
that could be a way to get the numbers up.
Have you contacted do you know them?
Indirectly. I don't have any direct contacts there that I could
I don't know them well, but we have talked with each other several times. So
yeah.
That's a great idea. Open Technology Fund, folks.
Yeah.
If anybody has better connections, that's great. Otherwise, I would be happy to pick. I mean, really, it's just an email. I'll CC you, Michael. I'll CC you. I mean, no guarantees they'll do anything, but it does seem like this is definitely one of those things where we need to get data in order to start getting people to put data in.
Right. One cool thing that happened was, I think it just happened through the wild. We did have somebody, Kevin Backhouse, upload a review onto there kind of just organically. So I think if we do even a little bit more, maybe with this next iteration of reviews that we're going to add on to there, maybe if we gave a shout out to the repo to, just promote it a little bit more and just reassure folks that, hey, you can add stuff on here too, if you have research or access to it or something like that.
Right.
I run into cases where I'm like, I've looked at this method, it looks vulnerable, but it's actually not, right? Like that's the kind of thing that I will look through and see. But I don't want to make sweeping claims about the entire application. But I can make very narrowly focused things like this thing looks vulnerable, or there was a code QL query alert that flagged here that this is not vulnerable, at least as far as I can tell.
I think we want to make assertions about whole software, but it's okay to say, in order to look at the whole software, I looked at key parts and I found these concerning factors, or I didn't find those concerning factors.
So you can actually do, so the schema accounts for it. Now, whether or not people would interpret this when they're reading it to mean anything, but you could say that, for this package, I looked at function foo, CodeQL reports a thing, but it's not a thing. You could.
Okay, cool.
What else? Since I'm on the topic, so the Alpha Omega. The Alpha Omega repo went live. So we have the node engagements described and what the role is and what they're going to be doing. I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep it simple and have a monthly update markdown that they will PR into us, and we will either keep the content, or if they want to put it someplace else, will just be a link to it. But the point will be that you'll be able to, from somewhere here, get to, well, what's been done recently in this for this engagement. So we'll be updating this as we get the next two engagements round. And the final thing here is we do have the Omega analyzer it's in a separate branch. We're just waiting for approval on the licensing and because it's a little bit complicated. But for now, it is a Docker file that you can just build, and this is the sauce. So it's everything from CodeQL to SemGrep and everything else, as well as a orchestration layer that pulls stuff out and aggregates it, and then I think this even the review creator is here too. Yeah, the review creator, so it'll create the files. So you guys are welcome to play with that. It's all public right now. Metric dashboard, I don't have, so there's nobody here to really talk too much about that. I think they're meeting tomorrow. I think they meet every Thursday. So more to come there. I'll try to get a report back later this week. Cool. Anything else on these topics? Cool. So there was apparently chat last time on changing the workgroup name. I agree. The workgroup name is terrible. I apologize for that. Does anybody have really strong feelings on what the name should be? So just to be clear, so things we've done. So we do dashboard, security insights, security reviews, the threats paper, Yeah, I'm gonna say like squigglies against alpha omega because that's kind of now a top level thing. Am I missing any major things that we've done? Oh, we started the work. We had a couple more like early incubation. So these were projects where somebody was going to take it off, take it offline and like think hard and like come back, but nothing kind of top level. So with that in mind, like, does anybody want to?
Without stating the obvious, I think security should be in the new name. Whether it's like
So we'll do word cloud. So security, yes.
I mean, technically, it's all part of the OpenSSF, but I got it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out. Something like improving security communications, or
Worst comes to worst, we can go look at what this group, how this group is is described.
yeah.
Oh, I feel like let's do it.
mean, let's
That's
see
a good
here. So
idea.
the working, if I go click on OpenSSF join, this group is defined as follows: informed confidence in the security of open source software by collecting, curating, and communicating relative metrics and metadata. Informed decisions.
I mean, I can't remember. Is there a group called Security Insights or something? Or that's the subgroup. Okay.
Here's the other thing. Like,
Oh, okay. I got a phrase. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I have a phrase for you. You may hate it, but there is a history for it.
okay.
Decision support.
That sounds.
This is a much more of a military terminology, but it's I want to make a decision. I'm not here to make your decision. I'm here to give you the data necessary and analysis necessary to help you make a good decision. And it's more focused on here's the facts. If you do X, this is what's going to happen. If you're going to do Y, this is what's going to happen. You're going to love some things and hate some others. Decide which you prefer, but I'm trying to give you the information to make a good decision.
I feel like this could grow on me.
It's totally different. You'll have to give it that.
You know what? I don't love the current name. Like the bar is pretty low on like. Okay. Alex, you have your hand up?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So the thing that in the last meeting happened was not just naming, but it's about what this group is different from other working groups, right? Mm-hmm. What is so unique about this group that the other working group doesn't do? If you can identify those, it's definitely going to help find a good name. What is so unique about this working group that other group cannot do? For example, incubation, right? Is this the only place that you can take the incubation proposals?
So no, and I don't. I could be convinced that I'm wrong here. So, but I'll give you my perspective. I don't think any of the working groups should feel limited in the things that they can work on. As a matter of courtesy, if we decide to work on a new vulnerability format, we should, like, it would be kind of mean of us to like not tell the vulnerability disclosures working group about it and just like do it ourselves. I mean, if we were going to do a pure security tool, not letting the security tool, and so we should have better communication among the working groups themselves to not have like either deliberate or like just accidental, like serious overlap. But I don't think that we are the only group that should do incubation. I don't think that like I
That
honestly,
was just
the
the
working groups were
sorry.
kind of created in a like it was a um, not a lot of thought was put into like what is the correct number and scope of each working group. It was a hey, we thought of these ideas. What does everybody think? And everybody was like, sure. And that's what we went with. So we kind of
Well, yeah, to be fair, a lot of this was grandfathered in too.
yeah, that's what I mean. So this was the GitHub Security Coalition from before. So we just kept the names. So I'm fine changing it. I'm also not bothered by like it's the same group. We're doing, I think, good work, and
Yes.
that's fine too. If it bothers people, like if it's an impediment, then I definitely want to fix it.
Yeah, but Michael, let me push back a little bit. I'm going to try to channel the TAC members briefly, noting that I'm not a TAC member. I think the TAC folks are right now feeling a little disconnected from a lot of the work because I'm actually showing up at all the meetings, so I actually have an idea of what many of the working group right now. That's the only way to find out a lot of the stuff that's going on. And if the working groups are just totally random, then it gets even harder to figure out what's going on. And even worse, it gets harder for new participants to have an idea of where to go. So I think that the we do want to have semi-crisp boundaries of what a working group does or doesn't, knowing full well that those boundaries are fuzzy. There's always going to be projects that fit into multiple categories. It's okay.
It's okay.
They're rough baskets to help organize otherwise too many people. And that's all they are. If a project can fit in multiple baskets, fine, select one, we move on.
Right.
But I think it is helpful to have clearer names. I mean, I think really this is the only group that has a name that is a true mystery to most of the people. I mean, none of them are perfect, but most of them, they're more or less doing what they say.
I did see Crow post kind of an update back to the TAC mailing list. I think it was earlier today.
Yeah.
It's a good template. I'll just follow that template and do the same thing. That will be one way of communication. But just, and because because this meeting's being recorded and because I don't make the best decisions sometimes, is anybody here on the TAC like that is attending this meeting?
I'm not.
Right. So the TAC, I feel very strongly the TAC members should be active participants in working groups too. Period. Alex,
okay, right.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair. I think that's fine. And conversely, though, most of the TAC members are going to be unable to show up at all of them. So having clearer names, reporting back and forth, it's all goodness.
Yep. And frankly, I should be attending the TAC meetings, which
they'll say that too.
well, so strangely, I didn't think that I was invited to TAC meetings until a few weeks. So
yeah, I think
will be,
yeah, I think at the very least they want you to come, every once in a while to, hey, just again, more awareness both directions than anything else.
Totally agree. I'm sorry, Alex. I know you've been trying to talk for like 5 minutes.
No, that was perfectly, like a good explanation, and I really appreciate explaining, all the differences, and I was just trying to help. To get the right name, we need to understand what we do, right? Like, and there definitely overlaps, and it's fuzzy, and it's the nature of this group, because there are so many talented people can contribute multiple things. Maybe as we going forward, newcomers like me can get some help if there's like a either kind of Venn diagram or like a XY. To grasp that kind of position ourselves, we are more stronger in, if you look at the like Gartner reports that has like this positioning graph, right? We can kind of, position, we are stronger in here, but we can also attest to this work, right? I think that may be helpful.
I like that. I like that idea a lot. We can and should, and we should absolutely do that.
Yeah, I think they're still doing the quarterly OpenSSF updates, right? I thought that was a good way where basically to get insight into what all the working groups are doing and stuff like that. I think that's going to continue to happen. But visualizing it in some way, I totally agree. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. The last town hall was February, so March, April, May. So we're due for one. Although with everything, like I'm imagining will probably be July.
Yeah.
The next one would happen.
So my 10 cents on this whole topic of naming is the TAC is not necessarily something that I'm thrilled and interested in. And like you look at the TAC meeting group, you're like, okay, the TAC meeting is great. I just, keeping the name interesting so that it encourages people to actually join, right? Like identifying security threats is a pretty like eye-grabby name in terms of like interest in like, oh, I want to go see what that meeting is about and like learn more about it, right? I don't have that same feeling about decision support. I respect where you're coming from, but like, I think that keeping a name that like pulls people in, like, that sounds interesting. I want to learn more about like what are the security threats that we're,
Yep.
Presente.
Thank you. All right. So put those as meta issues. Try to say something about security. Try to be eye grabby.
Is there a so there's like red teams and blue teams and purple teams and green teams. Is there any team color that naturally would align better with what we do? Is there like a fuchsia team that?
No,
Right?
transparent. No. You want translucent because you want insight into what's going on.
Oh. now we're talking.
I dressed up as a crayon for Christmas or for Halloween one year, and I was fuchsia, and I now have the nickname of Fuchsia from. So you said the fuchsia color. I'm like, my callback.
Translucent team. Oh, that's funny.
Didn't I say naming was hard?
It is.
Cool. Any other
Team
business?
transparency.
Anything else anybody would like to talk about?
Real quick, this is not terribly related to everything else we're talking about, but for securing critical projects, I also plan on using Krobe's template and doing those regular meeting updates. I think it's a good practice. So just so show some consistency.
Let's do it. Are those? Do you know if those are? The TAC should publish those in their repo. I mean, we should just PR them into their repo.
Okay.
The mailing list is not discoverable, really. Either way, though, yeah, that sounds good.
I'm taking the opportunity to just type in a large number of names and seeing, because seriously, this is a brain, step one, brainstorm, identify many options so you can narrow it down.
Yep.
But the first step is to get the options on the table.
Go write that list, throw that into an IDE hooked up to GitHub Copilot, see what it comes up for suggested comments after the name list you feed it.
Have you guys seen?
Well, it sounds like you already know how to do that. Go for it.
All right. Well, I probably pull
Copy,
up the
paste.
document. Yeah, right. I gotta pull up. Give me a second.
Okay. All right. How's this? Can I propose that we continue this discussion next meeting? Although that may be a problem. Isn't there are there conflicts with that next meeting? Probably ought to look.
Meeting notes. There we go.
2 Wednesdays is that that one event in DC, I believe, the jam.
Yeah, so Mira and I think, are not going to be around. So I mean, that doesn't mean it can't happen. Just Amir and I will have to not be there. So we'll see you after that. You can get something done for a change.
Fair.
Okay, so how's this? I will just acknowledge my regrets ahead of time.
Yeah, that works. Wonderful. Last call for comments or questions from anybody. Wonderful. Everybody gets 10 minutes back. Thank you all very much. Have a great rest of your week and see you all in 2 weeks. And then if you're in DC, if my math is right, like the following week.
what? Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
mine-
I'm sorry. I said DC.
Texas.
OpenSSF Austin. Yeah. Or
Yeah.
virtual.
Austin.
It's just giving me. It's just giving me security metrics is the next suggestion. I'm like, it's already one of the things.
Thanks,
All
everybody.
right. Well, you can see you later. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.